Rungs of the Ladder. Episode Fate.
Hello, welcome to another show of Shlovei Sulam.
Hello.
Hello, Rav Lightman. How are you?
Well, I'm here, so everything's fine.
Okay, good. Today I would like to talk to you about fate, a subject that occupies and interests many people, almost every age group, from little girls who would like to know what happens to them when they're older, young women who would like to know whether a guy is good for them or not.
I'm not sure I'm the right person to talk about it, but...
Not the right person.
And
I just wanted to know, what is fate?
fate, it's something that we have no control over. Anything I have no control over in life is called fate.
Even the qualities in me?
Could be. It depends on the person himself. Does he see himself in control or not? Maybe a person thinks that he is in control of everything and then he says, no fate, everything's under my control. And there are people that say, what, me? To do something by myself? No. And then he relies everything entirely on fate.
I understand. Okay.
And thus, it's all with respect to the person himself. It's not something determined. But if we're speaking from the point of view of Kabbalah, that's something else. So first of all, let's talk before Kabbalah.
So before Kabbalah, okay.
What did you learn about it in philosophy? Is there a definition?
No, not really. From astrology to tarot cards, people think they can attain fate in all sorts of ways.
Yes.
From the point of view of fate, it is something futuristic, something deterministic that is in the future to come and we're somehow supposed to receive. How can we control that? How can we know what it is? This is a question that is most common these days on this topic.
To control life, control destiny.
To control life, to control the result that can stem from those things.
This is something we truly become needier of from day to day. We see the more we advance, then technology and philosophy and natural sciences in general.
It doesn't bring us anything.
No. They bring us to a state where we see that we are under the control of fate. Meaning, if a primitive person, thousands of years ago, used to pray to the forces of nature, and he saw fate in everything. Later, we've distanced from nature. We thought that we can be in control, that we can build our lives without looking at nature and its laws, and all the more some kind of a fate that dictates something from the inside, from the outside. Then today, after this entire development, once again we've reached a state where we're facing nature and technology and science, and all of my experience just tells me that I'm in the hands of fate.
Helpless.
Yes. But today, I'm already aware of it, I know it, I understand it. I'm after all the pride and the outburst of my ego and so on, meaning today, I'm already educated. I already know that there is an upper force, something, above me. And I have no control over space, nor time, nor motion, nor anything that has to do with the next moment.
So I can't control, I can't determine, I can't know. I can't know?
No.
Can't know. I ask because I'm taking those questions because different questions that come to your blog from friends. The question is, how can I know and control? I can't.
The wisdom of Kabbalah allows you to do that, but in a way that's above nature. To control nature, it means to be above nature. Above nature, it means to rise to that very force that controls us. To be like nature, like the Creator. To be like the Creator means to reach the degree of Adam from the Hebrew, meaning to be like the Creator. Please, the wisdom of Kabbalah allows you to do it, but it's a lot of work until a person reaches that. And our entire life and all the events we undergo, it's just to understand that without controlling our fate, we're truly lost. So fate, it's something very important. And the wisdom of Kabbalah, it explains that either we're 100% controlled by fate, or only under one condition.
What?
Because if we turn to psychologists, physiologists, you're a philosopher. What does philosophy say about man? Does he decide anything
What?
by himself? Does he determine?
Nothing. I know that it's nothing.
You know. Okay, so if we look at life, we can see that we're nonetheless trapped by the forces of nature. And were we to precisely know all the forces operating in reality and how they influence each and every one of us, and also the connections between us, then we could know what will happen and how to change our fate and what should we do about the next moment. And we can do this, but only on condition that we rise to that great higher force. Meaning, in life, we have the ability to influence our nature only by raising ourselves above nature. And within nature, everything's predetermined. I was born with certain qualities. I was brought up in a certain family, educated. I was also born to a certain nation, a certain place, in a certain situation. I didn't choose anything. My fate is predetermined there.
Is it also defined what's going to happen during life? If I get married, how much am I going to suffer?
We see that that's how it is. We see that, for instance, two twins, they separate in two different places in the world, and we see how one of them does the exact very same things as the other one, even though there's no connection between them, meaning that in their genes there is such a preparation where they determine their lives, their professions, their kids have the same names, women are similar, you enter the home of the one, the home of the other, one is in Australia.
In France?
Yeah, the same. We know it.
We know that.
And as a result, we understand that everything exists within a person, meaning there's no fate, meaning that I can't change anything. On the contrary, it's not that there's no fate, but there is an iron fate within me that will determine all that I'll do, meaning that I'm not boss, I'm not in control over myself. So fate has two meanings. The one is that I have no choice and I must follow blind fate. And I have all the preparations to do that, and I realize them whether I want it or not, and then I say, it's fate. That already exists inside me, it's written there, and I only carry it out. And fate could be the very opposite, that as if it's not written, there's nothing inside me, and there's like a clean page before me, and I can do whatever I want, and please go ahead. And then after I do it, I say, that's fate. Meaning, there's the side of complete determination, and there's also the side of complete unawareness, where maybe from above, from nature, I was given a certain action where it's not determined how will I realize it and what will be its result. Possibly, in life, there are such things that do not exist in my genes or my hormones or in my education or in anything else, but truly, I can do it in that very moment. But then there's a question. How can I understand that very moment? How can I know what should I do?
Right.
It's all as if kind of an unknown accumulation of things.
And then what are you going to do?
So we know that there's no such thing in nature. We know that in nature everything is defined and predetermined.
Definite laws?
Yes. So the wisdom of Kabbalah explains that, of course, there is no such thing in nature as unknown. Nature is,
Actually determined?
yes. But if you want, you were given an opportunity to determine your fate, but not in the dimension in which you live, because here in this life, you live an animalistic life, and everything is predetermined, and really twins will do what they have to do, and you can go to some fortune teller and they'll foretell your future, tell me what will happen with my body.
Really?
For sure, no problem. We've seen such people. I remember there was Wolf Messing in Russia. You never heard about him?
No.
Oh, he was very famous. He was a Polish Jewish person who fled to Russia, and the entire war he was next to Stalin and the years afterwards.
And he foretold his future?
Yes. Each and every day he could say,
How?
he simply sees it, he felt it. He didn't know how himself, he wrote about it.
How can I be like him?
I don't know if that's good. He kind of cursed his fate.
That quality?
Yes, because he also knew about himself. There was this time that something happened to him and everyone said, let's call a doctor, it's dangerous. He said, don't worry, I'll die so-and-so. And
that's how he died.
He said it, and a few years later, exactly the way he predicted.
Sometimes it's not good to know.
Of course it isn't. It depends for whom. But what I want to say is that we can turn to the matter of fate here according to Kabbalah. That lets us understand that on this level, you're like an animal, everything's predetermined, and that it's hidden from you, concealed, doesn't matter. It's concealed in order for you not to be that tied, chained to it. But you can truly determine your fate by rising from the plane of this world into spirituality. There is no fate. There, you can determine your life, yourself, according to your connection with the environment that also wants to rise and ascend and reach a realm, a dimension where there is no fate nor destiny, but you determine your life and are above nature.
Why would I want to do some kind of action, some kind of doing, if what the Creator created is good? Everything is good. And it's as if I'm coming and making some kind of change.
No, I come to the realization of the good that does good. By doing this, I take a group of people who also want to take control over their destiny. The Creator made it so. The Creator wants us to control our own fate, a person who controls his spiritual life. In corporeality, there's nothing to control. We live in an animalistic life. Everything's predetermined. But only my spiritual life, to the extent to which I become similar to the Creator, only there is there fate, meaning my entire fate depends on my environment. Like that show where we talked about envy, lust, and honor that bring a person out of this world. Where in this world, where we exist as animals, through these three factors that don't exist in animals, we can rise to a level where we determine our fate, but eternal fate. And also there, I can determine and control my corporeal life because I'm already on the level of making decisions and to even change my fate here in this world.
When we look at the fate of the nation of Israel, then we see in the Torah all kinds of prophecies, different prophecies. How could it be if there's one final point? How is that possible that there are so many versions?
I don't think that these are different versions. All the prophets made their prophecies for the days of the Messiah, so it says. Only that each one of them commentated somewhat what will happen if we advance without taking control over our destiny.
Without controlling fate means by the natural course of time.
Yes, in the natural course of time, and that's horrible. And these are the prophecies.
They're horrible.
Horrible prophecies. Meaning that nature, every moment, pushes us towards the attainment of the goal. But if we say that we take the forces of development into our hands and we develop above the realm of this world, then they can't write about it because fate is in our hands and then we're free and they can't foresee it. No one can. And thus, whatever I can foresee is if I won't do anything, then by which forces, the upper force, my fate, will oblige me to advance. Yes, then the laws of nature are very clear, but the moment I get in there and determine my advancement by my own desire, then no one can tell because it's my free choice. Fate is in my hands.
It's very hard to think about that upper level when in our physical life we don't see that final point. We don't know how it's going to end.
You don't have to, because in that fate I advance in faith above reason. I don't have to see the final goal. On the contrary, if I don't see it, but I advance by an ever-growing power of bestowal, I'm advancing correctly for sure, and I don't care that I can't see even an inch forward, because if I'm headed at bestowal, I don't have to know. I go above reason. I'm as if walking on air and not with my feet on the ground, and that's the surest thing, because that way I can really advance above my corporeal fate.
It still bothers me.
Why? What did you find?
In the introduction to the study of the 10 Sfirot, Baal Sulam writes that you cannot not pay attention to the difference between fate and free choice.
That only there you have free choice in choosing your fate.
Only there you have free choice?
Yes, of course, because how will I be born, the education I'll get, who will I marry, how will I advance, how will I call my children, how many children will I have, what profession will I get, how will I live, how will I die, it's all pre-written.
It says that I'm your daughter.
It's rooted, of course. Of course.
Except what is not written.
Besides spiritual advancement. Because in this world we're all like animals. We can't change anything, but if we rise to the spiritual fate where we will want to become like the Creator and acquire the spiritual force, then out of it, from it, we can also make changes in our world, even in the corporeal world. But
this is the most interesting thing.
Why?
Because everything is written and permission is granted.
Yeah.
You said everything is defined and we can't change it.
Yeah.
But you're saying that by working on the spiritual level, we can influence the corporeal level as well.
So what? That's interesting.
It's interesting because we're still in the corporeal level.
So what? What can happen here? Of course, our corporeal lives will change for the better, undoubtedly, because all the suffering that we experience here, all the blows, are in order to advance us towards fate, to take control over our fate, to come to free choice. The moment we take free choice into our hands, there's no need for these bad forces, the sole purpose of which is to advance us towards choice. So, of course, I start seeing life in this world in a good way, but that's not the point of advancing. What, our 70 years here, that's not what's important.
That's horrible.
What's terrible is...
It's horrible in general that there is this form of life that is not known to us, and it bothers us, it disturbs us on the way.
Why is that a disturbance? If I fulfill my life with attaining the goals, self-realization, that I can bestow onto others, I can connect plenty of people to something exalted. I feel myself. It's not that I enjoy life. I feel that I'm realizing life. I feel my life is something extremely precious. Every moment I can do something tremendous.
But the fact that you don't know what's going to be at the end of you.
It doesn't matter.
The end is not known to you.
Corporeality is unknown. It can stop in a moment. So what? I don't understand. Why does it have to bother me that much? If I'm eternal.
There are many troubles in life, Dad. There's a lot of pain. There are many things. We want problems to be solved, you know.
Where did all these problems and troubles come from in order to raise us to the level of taking decisions, to the degree of the upper force, where it supervises and governs us? From that level, you can change your destiny in this world, but only from that level, not on this realm. How do we research nature? Since I'm above nature, I look at a certain phenomenon and I study it from above. But if I'm inside this life, how inside this life can I know anything about life? If the upper force that governs it comes from above, I have to rise to its degree. And that is why I need the wisdom of Kabbalah.
But you still remain on those two levels.
Yes, of course. I'm living here in this world, like a doctor that looks at his body and he says, I have this and this and that, and these are my problems. On the one hand, he's a doctor. On the other hand, he's a patient. Yeah? And that's also how I relate to myself.
But how can you say that a disease that that doctor has can disturb his diagnosis or the way he looks at things? How do you know?
It helps him research his disease and do the best in order to cure it. This is actually the reason for which we feel ourselves ill. And the moment we reach the solution where he cures all flesh, that he is the doctor for all illnesses, then no problem. I don't feel that a person who comes to spiritual realization feels it as blind faith. No, he respects his faith. He loves it. He sees that he can correctly realize it. He identifies himself with the upper force that governs him. He and the Creator are managing his life together. A person himself manages his life from above. That's something tremendous.
A person who comes to the wisdom of Kabbalah, usually, many times I hear people speak about a point in their lives when suddenly the wisdom of Kabbalah was revealed to them and they feel that fate put them there.
Yes, suddenly something happened.
The Creator puts your hand on the good fate and says, choose. Is it written from above?
A person feels that, yes, that someone from above takes him and brings him to a special place, a special incident where a person comes to know a different path in life, something new.
Was it written to him? Just like it was written to him whether he'll get married?
For everyone, yes. It's an angel. When I told my teacher, the Rabash, how I came to him, he said it was an angel. And who was that angel? Some person standing on the crossroad. Yeah, that's what he said. This is how a person is being brought to a certain place, but afterwards it's self-realization.
Could it be said that every point in life was dictated by faith in order to bring you to that elderly person on the street?
Yes and no. We're nonetheless speaking about a decisive point where he really appears and says, take this. It's like Bala Sulam writes in the introduction to the study of the 10 Sfirot.
Yes, I have it. Yes, here. Now you can understand the words of our sages, therefore choose life. It states, I instruct you to choose the part of life as one who says to his son, choose for yourself a good part in my land. He places him on the good part and tells him, choose this for yourself. It is written about this, O Lord, the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup, thou maintainest my lot. You placed my hand on the good fate to say, this take for you. But what I wanted to say is that in every stage of your way, up until the point where you saw that elderly person on the crossroad, are things that happened to you that wouldn't necessarily bring you to that final point.
No, of course, but also incidentally I found a store of Kabbalah books in the Orthodox area of Jerusalem and Masha'arim, and I bought a stock of books, and it's all as if by chance. But like it says here, points with his finger and says, go there, you can study the wisdom of Kabbalah. That didn't happen before, and thus the Rabash said,
that was an angel. In every other point in life where you immigrated to Israel and that...
An angel, it's a force that guides a person. So of course, I knew that I was searching, but... So fate is something that you mustn't miss out on. As he says, you have to know when you're told, take this, and after you're given something, you have to grab hold of it and see that it's something special and that it's forbidden for you to let go. Forbidden. I'm aware of my problematic character and who and what I am as a person. Besides one thing, I lucked out in grabbing hold of the goal and not letting it go. For this, I'm very grateful to my fate.
In your state, can you see my fate?
No. Each person is free. Each person in this respect is free. You have to feel what the Creator says. Take it, and to try and take it, and to carry on. But we can actually understand what the fate of each and every one is, which is advancing towards the purpose of creation, meaning where we'll truly reach a state where everyone will feel that very moment where he is led to make contact with the purpose of creation, to realize it from that point and on.
Would you change anything on your way?
Sorry?
Change.
Change. About what happened up till now. Forbidden to say. A person that's advancing, and also any person going through life, sees that as if what he went through, he did. It wasn't him. It was something as if that was done to him. And this is how we have to really relate to life. That's how it is, besides those moments by which we determine our advancement towards the goal of creation, because in those very moments, in those actions, we've realized ourselves as humans, and all the rest, we were as puppets on strings.
And on the spiritual path, every descent that there is different obstacles, do I do that?
No. Ascents and descents and disturbances, no. But every time I choose to add additional strength to advance towards the goal by connecting more strongly to my environment. Because if I advance by my own powers, then that power is, how to say, it's not mine. Meaning, it is mine, but it comes from nature, meaning I wasn't the one who acquired it. It wasn't me controlling my fate. But only if I turn to the environment against my will, against my ego, through the hate towards others, and I want to connect with them in order to get from them the force in order to spiritually advance, meaning against the forces of nature that the Creator has given me, meaning by doing so as if work against Him, then it's considered to be my own action, and it means that I have taken fate into my own hands and pursued it. It means that I'm walking with the rod. Otherwise, everything is done by nature. It's the upper force that governs, and there's no me here whatsoever.
Yes, so the rod can easily turn to a snake.
This is what we usually do.
Thank you very much, Rav Lightman. Thank you, all of yours, and see you next time.